Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Guild Wars 1 Let's Play. In the previous episode, we finally made our way out of the Shiverpeak mountains with our Ascalonian refugees. And we are now here in the gates of Kryta trying to get access to Lion's Arch, which is the main city of the region. However, due to an undead invasion that's going on right now, we are currently locked out of said city. So our goal now, I guess, is just to go in and help and try to get the gates open so we can go on in. So this region, Kryta, the main thing we're going to be seeing here, a lot more tropical, a lot more water. I love this, like, I don't know, water features always get me in games. I love water features in games, but Kryta is a bit more tropical, a bit more island-like, I guess, for lack of a better term. But main enemy we're going to fight here are the undead, who are the remnants of one of the old human civilizations known as Ur that fell a little while ago and all got turned into undead. So yeah, here we have some whole lot of undead around here. So this region also quite swampy on top of being quite lush. See the sun poking through those rocks and stuff. And here we see kind of the Krytan architecture, kind of more not exactly what the term for it is, but it's like thatched roofs with kind of like white stone walls, almost like stucco. Some nice flowers here with some butterflies. A little forge here. Compared to the like the green kind of almost Nordic cuts of the dwarves, and the kind of more like standard European knights and castles style of the Ascalonians. That was a boss. I wondered why he was taking so long to kill. Kill it! Kill it! Kill it! Nice. Now it's getting a little bit darker. Oh, and if you see up there, that's another feature of Kryta. Man, it is low texture, but it's like these big kind of stone keeps built into the side of the walls. Look at those houses. They're flat. Man. I love you, Guild Wars, but sometimes, man, I would love to see this game, like, remastered or, you know, designed nowadays. I don't know, the second game just, I don't know why, but there's something about the second game that just, the buildings don't feel like they have as much character. The buildings and the landscape and, like, the places. I don't know. I don't know if it's because everything feels kind of generic fantasy in the second game, but I don't know if it's a knock-on effect because I don't like the direction they took the game in a lot of places. So it just sullies my opinion of the rest of the game. But that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about Guild Wars 2. We're playing Guild Wars 1. Another decayed ore emblem drop. Oh, we were talking a while ago about environmental effects based on like the tar pits in Ascalon, remember? That gave us all slow when we walk through. The waters around here will give you like poison if you walk through them, so that's why we're all slowly degenning out. And why I 100% should not have stepped in that. Also because we're still in a situation where we don't have a lot of we only have one healer in our party, so we are very much susceptible to just death. So we're trying to make our way towards Lion's Arch, seeing if they'll let us in. Here's a whole bunch of the White Mantle, which are the kind of the peacekeepers of the region fighting the undead. Oh, we back aggroed as well. It's fine. Empathy really messes these guys up. There's a lot of damage to them. Ooh, a dead staff. Opposed to a living staff. Hardy har har, I am a comedic genius. Oh, you also see the symbol, kind of the white knight, excuse me, not the white knights, the white mantle around, which is that this symbol here that's on these red flags and on that stone pedestal. So here's like the gate to Lion's Arch, basically. We're gonna talk to Justicar Torimimo. Lion's Arch is sealed by order of Justicar Habilon. He's gone south to deal with an invasion of undead. Alright, so I guess we have to go south and find this dude then. I always kind of like the outfits of the White Mantle people. I think they're kind of cool. Here's more Murgoyles. Kind of the mix between gargoyle and mermaid. Nope. More cash. Let's keep on going. And here you see more of the open sea. I never noticed that before. That's actually a pretty cool effect, the waves breaking against the rocks over there with the spray. Kind of cool. Not surprisingly well done. But yeah, now you can kind of see the whole what I've been getting at almost every time we come into one of these missions, which is that there's generally just a lot of open space. Like you see, we can go all the way up there on the beach and just kind of like run around if we want to. But for the story, we're heading back down this way. Past these other White Mantle members. All the while, we're just going to try to avoid... Oh, nope, we caught someone. Just try to avoid hitting too many things. Don't want to be... Yeah. They'll be running around forever. So one thing the game doesn't really play with is giving second professions to the enemies. There's a couple, generally because that's pretty hard to actually balance and like figure out how to get builds and stuff to work, especially like trying to tune them correctly. This game definitely has a problem where like some enemies just feel like ridiculously strong, even if they're just like some random low-level enemy in a low-level zone, just due to like the kinds of builds they have. And also, like, one thing is you're susceptible to, as builds change over time, as skills get buffed and nerfed, you might accidentally just randomly overpower a random boss or something. Speaking of boss, here's one right here. So we're gonna make sure he's nice and hexed up with backfire. Alright. He's been removing the hexes off himself. That kind of sucks. But you can keep killing. Jihan the Cursed. But anyway, so they don't tend to play a lot with double specs for enemies, which I think is kind of a good thing, to be completely honest, because there's some enemies that they do then make double specs. Their builds tend to be ridiculously strong, and they tend to be very annoying enemies. So it's good that they kind of reserved it for like specific just areas. This is a cool little pool. I don't know. now that we're out of like Ascalon and the Shiverpeaks, and definitely as we get to the other campaigns, we're gonna spend a lot more time just running around, me looking at the scenery and being very happy from nostalgia, and just the ambiance, the feel of this game is just so good. I love it. There's a fish over there swimming in that pond. Or what are those called? Coastal shelves? Are they called shelves? The like inland water areas? Okay, so here's just particular Habanero. Halbion, the person we were looking for. I'm gonna call him Habanero. What's up, Habanero?
You've arrived in Kryta at the wrong moment, friend.
No shit,
I
Sherlock.
don't have time for long speeches, but I'll make you this deal. Help me fight these undead, and I'll give you and your people passage into Lion's Arch.
Something I want you to remember, I want to make clear as we're going through here, is to kind of remember that at some point Kryta kind of was the enemy of Ascalon and the other places. Just to keep in mind that generally there still is some bad feelings between the nations, despite it being a little bit of time and everything. So that's kind of why they will seem a little bit cold towards the people of Ascalon, despite not necessarily having a super good reason to be so. It's due to those old wounds. Got a zombie warlock over there. Oh, he's summoning minions, so that gives me a chance to talk about the minion mechanic in this game. The minions are very popular in this game. They're a necromancer spell that whenever something dies, you can make minions. And they're used a lot by players and by heroes, as it's just generally pretty good to swarm the heroes or the field with the little enemies. One thing to note about them is if you kill the necromancer who they are the caster for, they will actually turn into neutral enemies and they'll start attacking each other. So like, the enemies in this game aren't just simply your enemies. We saw that all the way back in Ascalon in the first mission where the I believe it was the Grawl were fighting the gargoyles, but they're actually like different factions, and enemies of different factions will attack each other. Also, I like that little farmland up there. I don't know, something about it. There's a Necrid Horseman boss up there. We got this big party of people with us, so we're not necessarily super afraid of enemies like this. I guess we'll hex the boss. That Necrid Horseman in the back is level 18, quite a bit higher level than everybody else around here. And one thing that this game did pretty well is making at least all the base classes that came out in the first one having very unique like skills. So you have 4 casters, but they kind of take on like 4 different feels. Almost like you have obviously the easy ones, which are like the elementalist is elemental magic, and the monk is like healing or holy magic. But you also have like the necromancer, who's like debuffs and minion spawning and like curses kind of thing. But then you also have mesmer, who's another debuff class, but it's almost like more of like, necromancers tend to be like whenever your allies do something to them, do more damage or something, whereas like mesmers a lot of times tend to be more preventing the enemy from doing something instead of like punishing like compounding your effects on them. Like, so barbs is a very common necro spell, and another one is Mark of Pain. And what they do is they essentially, whenever you hit with melee damage, or whenever you hit with a physical attack, they cause either spread AoE or just some bonus AoE, and those are like it's a very common thing for like necro skills to have, which is like if you do something, then something else will happen, kind of stuff. I don't exactly remember if we have to save these guys, but I'm always a little worried whenever there's NPCs around. that you have to keep them alive. So one thing I want to make sure is that you kind of want to maybe micromanage your team if you're playing this game yourself. You want to be a little bit careful with trying to get everybody out of this poison water so they're not constantly taking damage and putting your healer under more pressure. Not a big deal when you have, you know, heroes and stuff and you're built to do actual damage and stuff like that. But whenever you're still here in this earlier part of the game where your teammates are a little bit more limited, it can be kind of important to make sure everybody's not just taking needless damage. Ooh, we might actually go down here. Okay, it looks like we were able to stabilize. Good. Our healer having to work overtime. Okay, yeah, so we have to clear the swamp of undead. There's actually a way you can do this quest, or this thing where you come by earlier and you actually like essentially clear it out from the back, so that you only have to fight through like a couple enemies in the actual story, or in the actual mission. And I like that. I like that. That's something that Prophecies did that not a lot of the other campaigns did, where a lot of times, like back in Nolani Academy, a couple episodes in Ascalon, you get rewarded for coming another way if you're more powerful.
Be at peace, brother. May your soul find peace in the mists.
Mists are basically the afterlife.
Your bravery is unquestionable. Your honor unmatched. On behalf of the White Mantle, I thank you greatly for your service. Our founder, Saul D'Alessio himself, would have been proud to call you his friends. As promised, your request for entrance to Lion's Arch has been granted. You and your fellow Ascalons are welcome here. Come, I will escort you to town personally. We will make sure you receive a proper reception.
Nice. You made it. If you remember, that's the bridge near the keep we were at earlier. Again, the proportions in this game always a little wonky. Bridge is much bigger than than is reasonable almost.
Welcome to Lion's Arch.
This is like the hub of human activity in on this continent. In Guild Wars 2, it's the main city for most of the game. Huh? What's going on over here? Some white mantle and a shack out in the swamp somewhere.
I found it! The Scepter of Ore.
Ore?
Thank Twina we found it first. If the undead get this...
Come on. The sooner we get this scepter into safekeeping, the better.
Oh no. There's some undead hanging out back there.
Help! The undead! We're under attack!
Uh-oh.
We can't let them get the scepter.
Make haste to the Temple of Tolerance. Take the scepter to Confessor Dorian. We'll hold back the undead for as long as we can.
But...
Just go!
I mean, to be honest, you could have been halfway there by now. By the time they finished talking. Oh, who's that in the back? Some kind of undead boss. Oh, that's a big guy.
Run, you little fool, run. I have all the time in the world. The scepter will be mine again soon enough.
And the wonky run animation.
Everything proceeds according to the prophecy.
Prophecy, what was he talking about? Well, but besides the obvious one, which is the fact that it's called Guild Wars Prophecies. Shh. We don't talk about that. That's obvious. All right. We are in Lion's Arch, which is, like I said, the main city for this region. There's a couple things I want to do here before we end the episode. I think we talked to this guy, Magi Malaquire. Oh, here it is. I am known to the mortal men as Maggie Malaquire. I've been researching new methods of skill acquisition. Such a task is effortless to one such as I, of course, but I lack one final ingredient. Long ago, ancient tablets were brought here from Ur by wizards of some consequence. They were buried in North Kryta province, where their magic seeped into the very earth. I sent villagers to excavate these tablets for me, but alas, they unearthed only magical beings made of clay. I believe that these enchanted clay creatures hold shards of the Orion tablets deep within themselves. I need heroes such as yourself to defeat the creatures and to return them to me. Orion tablet shards contained within. Bring me 5 shards and I may continue my research. Will you accept this task? So essentially what he is hinting at is one of the ways you acquire skills. So one of the ways you acquire skills in this game is from skill trainers here, like this dude who has skills near his names, but they only sell non-elite skills. And the only way you can get elite skills is by killing bosses and then using something called a signet of capture to get the skill off the boss. And that's what that dude is talking about in his thing, is that quest will give us access to signets of capture. Now there's other ways for you to actually like get elite skills, especially if you're a more established player. But yeah, that's just like the that is the way you're intended to get all your skills, at least the first time you unlock them on your account. I believe this is the main quest here. Yes, here it is. Okay. So, Armin the Guide, report to the White Mantle. Why, hello and welcome to Lion's Arch. I see you're another one who's been offered sanctuary here by the grace of the White Mantle's just occurs. The White Mantle rules this kingdom, if you hadn't figured that out. So if you meet us staying here, you best report your presence officially. There's a barracks in Delesio Sealboard just west of town. Talk to Mantle Knight Karaya, and he'll sort things out for you. Okay. So we got a new skills vendor, which means new skills. I might look through that at some point and see if there's any of those that I actually want and or care about for my build. Probably should pick a res segment. But there's also a couple other things here in Lion's Arch. Now that we're at Lion's Arch, we've got access to this ship here, which at the moment only takes us to the PvP area, and then like the Embark Beach is basically like the mission hub where you can go to every mission from here. But now we can actually have access to the other continents. I'm not going to actually go through and go to any of the other continents yet. We're going to finish this story first. But I am probably going to go head out and get heroes. But I will cut that bit out and drop those related quests and everything at the beginning of those campaigns whenever we upload them. So the heroes will just appear in my inventory. You'll be a little confused who they are. We'll get to it eventually, but it makes the game a lot more fun for me and a lot more interesting. Also, I'm not going to like go complete the other campaigns to get all the heroes. I'm just going to grab some of the easy ones, just to make it, a bit more fun for myself going through. So I'm going to be honest, having only one healer with crappy skills kind of sucks compared to, what you're used to if you've played this game quite a bit. Here's like a ship down here. I'm just gonna show off some of Lion's Arch while we're walking around, because this is definitely a cool place. So another thing with this architecture, these big like logs into the ground. All right, let's see. That's for one of the campaigns. So yeah, I always like this ship out here that's got some of the guild stuff is out there. Yeah, some of the guild stuff is out there. And guilds essentially are like how I have this cape from my guild, and the guilds have like guild halls, which are different like structures you can run around and have a whole bunch of convenience features and stuff for you. There's a weapons and an armor vendor here in this little corridor here. I don't think any of these have anything we super care about. Yeah, no, still 30 armor on this stuff, which is the same as the stuff we picked up back all the way in Ascalon. Ooh, this guy here, the Tyrian Lore Master. This is something. So, these Lore Masters, what they do is that they give you a book. And this book is essentially fills up as you do the missions for the different campaigns. and it'll give you a little bit more extra information on each one and give you like a reward if you finish it. So I picked that up just to have it. Let's see, anything else around here I want to show off or talk about real quick? I think there's just one more thing. Here's kind of like a merchant thing. You notice there's not a lot of players here. That tends to be because a lot of players tend to hang out in the main city from the 3rd campaign, or in that Embark Beach that I talked about, that mission hub. But up here, near this storage agent, there is a reference to one of the original community director for the game, Gail Gray. There's some miniature frogs that are like, I don't know, I guess she really liked frogs or something. So there were a couple of those given out. I think actually her account is the only one that has them. But there's a little frog here, which is a reference to her, like the miniature frogs. And I think she maybe used a frog as a symbol. I'm not exactly sure. All I know is that frog is a reference to the original community manager for the game from way back in the day. We're talking like probably before 2010 even. Like all the way back near where the game came out, 2005. I'm not exactly sure how long she was the community manager for. But yeah. Oh, also there's a shark, another one of those shark fin things out here in the water. Always cool. I always thought this is the cool thing in Lion's Arch. I always like hanging out here just to see it come around. It was like a big fish shark weird thing. I don't know, kind of cool. And that's basically all for Lion's Arch. Some stuff back here, a crab in a pot. There's some crabs in a pot cooking. Some fireworks going off. I kind of apologize that somebody shot off some fireworks, which is a consumable you can use. The fireworks are not always here. But I think that's going to be it for today's episode. I think between episodes I probably am going to go off and get those heroes. But I'll just talk very briefly about them next episode, and you'll see like the actual process of acquiring them in their respective Let's Plays. But anyway, I want to thank you for coming out, and I hope you have a great day.